So, wow, I am blown. I just learned that Nipsey Hussle was murdered outside of his store in, I believe, LA. It's like, wow, I have to admit, like, I tell you guys, I really don't follow mainstream media like that. So, I felt like Nipsey Hussle was a good guy from things I just heard about him. I can't say I know his music because I kind of checked out of mainstream media as a whole because of white supremacy brainwashing us through television, music, magazines, any kind of, online media with the articles, the news. So I just totally have checked out of all of that. Anything that's mainstream media, I usually don't really follow or give my energy or, time to. So I had to do some digging to see. Someone had mentioned on Twitter that Nipsey Hussle was about to do something with Dr. Sebi, who was Dr. Sebi was like a herbologist. Like, he kind of was like the type of person that talks about curing all ailments with an alkaline diet, just eating really healthy and changing like what foods we're eating is just not good for us, especially black people. So, excuse me. And Dr. Sebi was murdered, I believe. He's dead, but I do believe he was murdered as well, because I think, America is very greedy when it comes to money. So, they always talk about big pharma, which means the pharmaceutical companies, and it is big, and a lot of people have their hands in the pockets of big pharma. So if you have someone coming along like a Dr. Sebi telling you that you don't need drugs to get better, even for something like AIDS, that could pretty much destroy the money that would be coming into the pharmaceutical companies. And then that would affect, again, the shareholders who have a stake in those pharmaceutical companies. And there's so many people getting rich off of us being sick and having to take all these drugs. And so for Nipsey Hussle to be saying he's going to bring light to this issue with the documentary of Dr. Sebi, he just said this last year. It definitely is almost like blatant at this point of white supremacy just knocking people off. Because I'm just like, Nipsey Hussle's been around for a long time. Like, I've heard his name for a long time. And from what I've heard and what's going on in California, like, there's really not a whole lot of Crips and Bloods going on as far as like the gang violence anymore. And I literally really don't hear much about that gang violence as much as I used to, when I was like a kid in the 80s or the 90s. And then if anything, I've heard that there's more Hispanic gangs and, causing a ruckus in California, and like illegal immigrants causing ruckus than the Crips and Bloods. So I just don't feel like that's what's going on. I also heard that I read that there was something that happened like probably last year as well, where there was like a mistaken identity where people thought some guy who was affiliated with the Crips had started beef with someone else, and there was a mistaken identity, got Nipsey Hussle mixed in, but basically Nipsey Hussle had nothing to do with that either. And the most recent thing I've heard about Nipsey Hussle, because I do follow the news, of course, like on Google, social media. I get my news from like the social media, YouTube, things like that. I don't watch like NBC News or Fox or any of that junk. I usually follow people like Yvette Carnell, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Tariq Nasheed, because they're going to translate it for it to make sense for me. But the last thing I seen about Nipsey Hussle was that he was supposed to be partnering and doing some type of project with Meek Mill. I think they were coming out with an album together. And if you are aware, Meek Mill he basically just got out of prison. I forget how many years if he served like 2 years or something like that. But like ever since he got out, he's been speaking out against mass incarceration. And from what I'm seeing with Nipsey Hussle has done, he was working on like a lot of projects that had to do with like tech, and I guess he was talking about the culture, like the black culture. So I had just posted recently that we are in the era of black excellence, and black intelligence. No, actually, I said black intelligence, and it's like we're the real BIE, which is the black intelligence era. And I think that's what's really happening. You're seeing more basketball players who are investing in tech companies and being smarter with their money, and speaking out very intelligently, not just playing basketball and ignoring like hard issues that are happening within the black community or society. And I've read quite a few pieces of information just on a quick search on Google about Nipsey Hussle doing like working on a lot of positive projects that would have significantly helped the black community, especially coming from someone as popular and as respected as Nipsey Hussle, because he is a rapper. People do love their hip hop, and he's not like a has-been who's been out of the game forever. Like, he's very relevant. And for him to be partying with Meek Mill, who's also pretty relevant and a really good rapper, who I just saw a video with him, Meek Mill partnering with Dr. Dre in a video that just recently came out. Like, it's basically just showing that this movement is happening. Like, the ADOS movement is happening. I'm reading a lot of people saying that this is going to be a hashtag and it's going to be gone in a couple of months, but that's so unrealistic, because we actually have a conference coming up, which I don't even know if a lot of people realize that. And Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore are so intelligent. They're so brilliant in their own right, in their own respective fields, that I just don't see this going anywhere. Like, I can feel in my bones, I can feel in my spirit that this is something that is going to be probably here to stay. This is not even just a movement. This is part of a Black Americans, a Native foundational Black Americans identity. So I don't see why this would go anywhere. It's very classic. It's not just something about civil rights and then it won't be relevant anymore. It literally means American descendants of slaves, which will be what we will always be. So I don't know why it would ever go anywhere, because it's not really like a club you got to get into. You're either a descendant of slaves in from America who were slaves in America, or you're not. So I just wanted to speak on this issue and just give my thoughts and prayers and my heart out to Nipsey Hussle. I'm just so sad to hear his path. Like, I did not want to believe that he was going to die. I saw that he was shot, and, and I told myself, like, hopefully he'll just pull through and it's just like maybe one shot or whatever. But when I read again that it was 6 times, I kind of knew, like, of course, that his chances were significantly decreased in surviving. And I just didn't want to believe it. And then I saw a family member mention that on Facebook that he had passed away. And I was like, no, absolutely not. No, I don't believe this. And it's crazy because before, I don't know, like, I didn't really realize I felt any kind of anything about Nipsey Hussle. Like, I guess I always kind of felt deep down that he was a good guy. But I really didn't know a whole lot about him, because to me, I just kind of associated him with the whole rap culture. And I knew him through Lauren London. She's an actress that I do watch her movies, and I think she's a cute girl, and I like her movies that she's in. So I knew that he was the father of her child. But aside from that, I really just was like kind of trying to keep my mind clear and focused on things that really matter in the Black community. So I don't really listen to rap and all that. But it's weird because in my heart, I knew he was a good person. Like, I felt that he was someone who was striving to do good things for the Black community. And I don't know, I'm just heartbroken. I am. I shed some tears. Like, I was like really sad. And with that being said, I feel like this is kind of like a vow that I believe ADOS should make, that we're going to fight even harder for the reparations that are owed to us. And we're not going to let Nipsey Hussle or any other, native foundational Black person die in vain. Like, their death is what will propel us forward to give us the strength to continue to fight. I will not stop fighting. I will never stop fighting. As long as I have breath in me, and probably beyond, I will always fight against white supremacy, because it is not fair. And I'm huge on, anyone who knows I'm huge on fairness. And it's just not a fair system, and it's just not right. And it's just really succeeds on treating humans inhumanely, and it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Like, I don't see black people as a whole like doing this to anyone else, like, ever. Like, I just never heard of us treating anyone like this, and we don't deserve this. We don't deserve to be treated like this for this long. This is horrible. I'm not even going to get into some of the reasons why we're probably being punished. Of course, people have said that, we might be punished by God because we didn't follow commandments, which I do believe that. But, I do feel like we're working to get right with God. And I just pray, there is going to be an end to this soon, and white supremacy ends. It doesn't need to exist. I don't see, I just don't see the world doing well as long as white supremacy is around and winning. It has to go. And so I feel like this should not be a time to feel defeated or to feel fear or to feel like, distracted. This is a time to get even more focused on the goal of American descendants of slaves and say this is exactly why, and even though Nipsey Hussle, he was from, I think, Eritrea. He was, I don't care. We know that he was doing a lot of things for Africa to better the communities of African Americans, and we accepted him into our community, and I'm grateful that we did that. He seems like he was just such an asset to us. And that's another thing I want to say is, like, a lot of people think that we as ADOS are trying to divide ourselves, and we're really not. We're actually trying to define our identity. So it doesn't necessarily mean we do not like Africans. Personally, I think that's kind of stupid to even say that, because we're African. Like, come on, let's get real. Like, we came from Africa and we were kidnapped as slaves. So if you know your history, to say you don't like Africans doesn't make any kind of sense. I just feel like African Americans who are native foundational to America, we feel like we're being left out of the conversation, but we're being left out of the successes that our ancestors have fought for time and time again, and we do deserve those rewards, more than deserve them. And it's not to crap on anybody else. It's just saying this is our moment, this is our time, and we're not going to feel bad about it, because the way things have been going, I don't think people really understand or care, probably even, how dysfunctional the whole situation's been when it comes to, like, the civil rights that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Black Panthers, like, everybody, our native foundational African Americans fought for their descendants, which is us. And now you look at the times, and it's like everybody's benefiting from those rights except the people who have always been 3/4 human. And I don't care, honestly, how people feel about it. I've seen some comments that are so disrespectful. Like, the main thing I see that's really strange to me that I just don't understand, because African Americans are not saying this about everybody else who's getting reparations, but I see a lot of people, like, seeming like they're salty that they're not going to be getting a check as well. They're not going to qualify to get a check. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I just don't know what to say. Like, I don't want to go there on this I guess I would call it a podcast, this video. I just don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. The only thing I could say is that Black people everywhere need to do better. You need to stop being selfish, stop being ignorant, and do better. Educate yourself and do better. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, when African Americans do well, everyone will do well. We're from the most powerful country in the world. So if we're given more resources, we will help the rest. We will help the rest of Africa, all of Africa and the African diaspora. And it's not that I'm trying to promise things or anything like that. That's just facts. Because a lot of us are already ready to leave and go to Africa now, even without any money. So you think if they wrote us a check tomorrow, we'd be staying in this country? Like, I have to admit, like, I do want dual citizenship because I do believe that my ancestors built this country. We do have a right to be citizens of America, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want to live in America. So I love my African brother and sisters. I love all of Africa. And when I say that, I mean all of African diaspora, but I have to say we got it. You guys, Africans and African diaspora, have to do better. And you need to give respect to ADOS just like we respect you all. I've seen that there's lots of other groups who are putting in claims for reparations, and ADOS has never, ever asked for some entitlements or a check of those reparations, even if we're living in that country and being an asset to that country and investing in that country that we're probably not even citizens of because we can't get citizenship for shit. But we just want to invest. We want to be made whole. We want to be validated. We're Africans. Where's our citizenship to our countries in Africa? And where is our whole 100% human, repairment, like being repaired in America? Where is it? Where the fuck is it? Like, I'm so fucking tired of it. Like, I'm tired of people being stupid. Like, it's like if we're not dealing with white supremacy, now we're dealing with black immigrants. If we're not dealing with black immigrants, now we're dealing with Jews and Bernie Sanders. If we're not dealing with Jews and Bernie Sanders, now we got Kamala Harris with her Indian Jamaican ass. It's like there's always so many people fighting against us, and we don't do that to other people. We embrace everybody. So it's like, why is everyone so fucking against us? And that's why we're at this point where we're like, you know what? Fuck you. Hold your own nuts. You're on your own. Because no one ever fucking supports us. No one. Like, we want to go to Africa and invest in Africa. What the fuck has Africa done for us? You sold us off into slavery, and we're still trying to go back to the motherland and invest in the motherland. Because at the end of the day, she is still the motherland. She's still where my ancestors came from. Even if I was kidnapped and sold into slavery by my own brother African family members or brothers and sisters, like, what the fuck? And you guys you don't even have the sense to feel some type of shame. Like, I just read a comment the other day from an African guy who was bitching because he wasn't going to get part of what the fuck? Why do you deserve it? What have you done? What the fuck have you done? And this other guy was just complaining, well, we're going to stop giving our oil. You don't have control over that. Let's be honest. Like, your fucking crooked politicians are doing that, and they're not passing it down to you. You ain't going to stop giving shit to nobody because you don't have no control over it. You're just a citizen who's in that damn country looking crazy because your politician's a piece of shit. So obviously you need to handle that with your government. Like, we're handling our issues and our grievances with our government. You need to go talk to your government. Instead, what I see a lot of Africans doing is running away from their problems to a well-developed country, the most powerful country in the world, and reaping the benefits that ADOS peoples have already fought for and died for. And instead of being humble about that shit, you got the nerve to fucking fight with us on Twitter and make videos and bitch and then get mad at the Africans who do decide they want to be allies to us. I want to curse you. Anyone who stands in the way of ADOS, I'm putting curses on you. I want to curse all of you to condemnation by God. There's no other words I can come up with that's any worse. Like, I want you to pay in hell for the way you're treating ADOS, because we've done nothing to no one that deserves this treatment. And all we've ever done is support others and plan to still support you guys even after all your fuckery. And it's not enough that you're coming over here eating off of what we've died and fought for, our ancestors died and fought for in this country, as if we hadn't gone through enough already with 400 fucking years of slavery. So that wasn't enough. When we keep fighting to get ahead a little bit, then white supremacy is burning down our communities, doing all this crazy shit, to lynching, hanging us from trees, killing our ancestors, our family members, raping us, torturing us, murdering us. And then here you guys come taking benefits from us, going to schools and doing all this extra, getting the jobs that we probably should have been getting. You need to stay in your country and fix your country. Don't come over here thinking you have something to say in our country. I would never go to a foreign country and fucking bump my gums and think I have something to say. That is extremely direct proof of how disrespected ADOS peoples are. We're highly disrespected. The least protected and the most disrespected. Everyone thinks they have a right to the country. You don't. It doesn't concern you. Period. Us getting reparations has nothing to do with you. Nothing. The most you can do is support us. Because God so help me, if you get in our fucking way. If you get in our fucking way, we will never forget it. And you will pay. We will make you suffer. Because I'm seeing a lot of cooning. A lot of bullshit. And I don't know if y'all are afraid. But it's time to fucking buck up and get strong and man up and woman up and do what the hell you got to do to go fight your own goddamn battles, because that's what ADOS has to do. We don't have nobody with having our backs. Ain't nobody got our backs. We're on our own. We're not even the majority in this country, and we've always been on our own to fight for whatever we have. To fight against whatever has been taken from us. So back the fuck off. So yeah. I didn't expect to go on that tangent, but I want to say rest in power to our King Nipsey Hussle, because he was one of the black immigrants that came to this country and did what black immigrants are supposed to do. He was an ally. He was an ally. A lot of you black immigrants who just came to America like in the 60s or 70s with your families, you're like a first generation American. You need to take some goddamn notes on how to act when it comes to ADOS. Take some notes, write it down, and learn how to be an ally and stop being a motherfucking enemy. Because that's exactly what you're acting like right now. You're acting like our enemies, and then you wonder why we still gonna be ADOS. We ain't gonna change. We ain't going nowhere. Period. We're tough as shit. We've been here all this fucking time, and we ain't going no goddamn nowhere. They're killing us in the street. They're doing all this shit to try to get rid of us. We aren't going anywhere. Period. We didn't survive 400 years of slavery. We survived the Reconstruction era. We didn't survive Jim Crow. We didn't survive massacre. We're still here, bitches. Try us. So that's all I want to say. Take some notes from Nipsey Hussle, our brother Nipsey Hussle, who knew how to be an ally and who stood up for African Americans every chance he got. And we stood with him. And we still standing with that brother. My heart is breaking right now that he's gone. We don't have many built like him. They know that. And that's why they took him away from us. Y'all better get on fucking code. And I'm talking to the Africans who's lost in this all, and the native black foundational African Americans who don't know what the fuck is going on. Candace Owens or, whoever the hell else is out there. Angela Rye. Get on goddamn code. You got, Mark Thompson? All the civil rights fake-ass leaders? The civil rights non-leaders? You sorry pieces of shit? Get on code. Shit. Who the fuck fights against someone else? You know why they fighting against us getting reparations? Because they feel like they already got theirs. They don't know if we're going to get ours, but they know they getting their check. Because the white man's writing that check fast as fuck to keep them as gatekeepers to us. Keep us away from getting through to victory. To being more powerful. To being empowered. These bitches, they got their goddamn check. They didn't cash their check. They didn't took all them damn checks to the bank for decades. They don't give a fuck about us. Fuck you, you civil rights non-bitch-ass leaders. You fake-ass leaders. Fuck all of you. And then you have the nerve to be a reverend with your fake ass. Who the fuck are you preaching to? Just misleading everybody. I bet your communities are crap. Your church is big as a damn fucking mansion, and everybody around it is living in damn poverty. Just don't get me started. I'm about to go. I just want to say, rest in peace to our brother Nipsey Hussle. You're not going to be forgotten. And we know you're not dead. You're just transferred to another black source, because souls and energy doesn't die. There will be another leader with the soul of our brother Nipsey Hussle. And I pray for his family and his loved ones, and for all his fans and all of us to get through this difficult time and just pull out even stronger in honor of all the fallen victims of the black community and the black race. You have not died in vain.